Welcome everybody. B1 to the family. B1 to everybody in the family. Let me put my phone on mute because I know somebody's gonna call me because they always do. This broadcast is gonna be like none other. We have some very great YouTubers, some heavy hitters in the building for our very first Black Media mashup. One of many. One of many. Okay. So I will introduce some familiar faces. Some are new, some are familiar. Let's start off with our brother Taurean
What's
from
going
Taurean
on?
Reign Reloaded, and then we'll go to uh, Black Alpha from the Black Alpha Network. Next, we have Kid Gravity from Kid Gravity Beyond. Our brother Beatzilla is running a little bit behind, but rest assured he has the invite and he will be here as soon as he can. So if this is your first time uh coming to the channel and this is your first time seeing these brothers, let me allow themselves to introduce them. Let me allow them to introduce themselves. That's what I meant to say. So let's start off with Taurean. Of course, you have a YouTube channel. What are some of the things that you talk about? Just give the audience a brief introduction of you.
Um, well, first off, before I really get into a shout out to you, Afro, for putting this together. This is very good considering that this is officially the new Black Media Appreciation Month, and what a way to pretty much end the month off on a high note. But on my channel, for those of you who are unfamiliar, I talk about just a different array of things, things that mainstream media, as I like to call it, does not really tackle, or they come in from an angle where it's kind of like they're kind of telling halfway of what's supposed to be told. But also, I tell my point or give my perspective of what is being discussed, and I pretty much, allow my audience to pretty much gauge from their own opinion about whatever it is that I'm talking about. And we pretty much cover it all. Like this, like it's an equal opportunity channel. On my channel, I don't talk about one particular thing or lean too heavily on one thing. I talk about a various amount of different things. Pretty much had an original channel. That one, unfortunately got terminated. But really, this whole YouTube journey for me really kicked off in 2016, and I'm still here in 2022, still doing what I am and still contributing as much as I can to what we now know as the new Black media.
Thank you very much. Let's get to Kid Gravity. You can go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience. Shout out to everybody in here.
I got to take that
I
off.
know a
That
lot
thing
of
is
brothers
hot.
and sisters are multitasking because we have our brother the Black Authority is on live
Yeah,
on Twitter Space. If I
yeah,
could have rescheduled this, promise you I would have, but
yeah.
unfortunately this is the only time we could get these brothers available. Um, so we had to do what we had to do. But Kid
Yes, sir.
Gravity, you can go ahead.
Hello,
And shout
everyone.
out
Hello.
to Jason Black, the
Yes.
Black
Shout
Authority.
out to Jason. Hello, everyone. My name is Kid Gravity, and yes, I do have a YouTube channel as well, Kid Gravity Beyond. And kind of like Torian, I do stories in the Matrix as well, but I focus a lot more on politics. But I do it in a way where I'm delivering my commentary, but I do it from an area that you may not have thought of, because a lot of our news today, they want you to think one way or another way. I try to give you that third hidden way. So that's where I focus on. But like Torian's platform as well, I am an equal opportunity offender. I do not care who you are. If you did something out of line, I will talk about it, even if you're my friend. But if you can, please subscribe to the channel. I'm almost at 500, so I can get that community tab so I can be even more offensive. But I'm going to be nice for now. And thank you to Afro Elite for bringing me on.
Thank you very much for coming. And we'll go to last but not least. Well, hopefully he's not last. Beatzilla will be coming in shortly. Hopefully, Black Alpha from the Black Alpha Network.
Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Peace and love. Yeah. And first off, before I go any further, I gotta salute all the brothers right here. Much love to you guys. You guys, keep everything thorough. You guys keep everything real, and nothing but love from Black Alpha Network. But as far as me, the Black Alpha Network is something I started, really a long time ago. It's a brainchild I had a long time ago about bringing the truth and reality to our people. You know, this fight, this struggle that we all live in, that we all have to deal with. And I just wanted to make it something that the average person can relate to. And anybody who hears, you know, my content, you see it's like straight from your household. It's like your mother, your father, your auntie, your uncle. It sounds like Sunday dinner, you know, holiday season. I just wanted it to be something that everybody can feel in their soul, not just hear it and not just, you know, understand it. I want you to really take it with you, and I want it to affect you. And if we can affect one person, I don't care how old you are. You can be old, young, from any side of the country, any side of the world. If we can affect you, we can actually affect change in your life by anything that we say content wise, then I feel we've done our duty. And somebody said a long time ago in one of our spaces, they told all of us, they said we're doing God's work. You know what I'm saying? So whatever people feel like, you know, you could say God's work, or you could just say you're doing the universe, you could say an energy or whatever. But I feel that we're doing something for the greater good of all of us B1s, and we're on the same team. So anybody hears me, make sure you subscribe to Black Alpha Network, as well as all the brothers right here if you're not already. I feel like we're the second wave of the new black media. We're, you know, coming up behind the Jason Blacks, the Professor Blacks, and the Tariq Nasheeds. And, you know, we do it with style and with class. But I want to make sure everyone knows, man, we're in this together. And that's the main thing. It's all about unity. It's all about commonality. And it's all about the love for our people. So that's me, Black Alpha Network. And one love to everybody here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Someone asks, Kid Gravity, what is your YouTube channel? I want everybody to know that I have put all of these brothers' YouTube channels, their Twitter information, and their Instagram information in the description below. So all you got to do is go through in the description. They have their name and then the list of their information, so you can follow all of these brothers on all of their social media platforms. Okay, so now that the introduction is over with, now I feel like it's about time we start getting to the questions, the serious questions. Before we get into that, everybody has pretty much explained what they do and what they bring to the table of black media, what they have done. Now, I know I've asked this question before, but I'm going to ask this question again in case this might be your first time hearing. What inspired you? What was like the thing that was that flipped the switch, so to speak, to where you're all like, that's it, I'm done, I'm starting a channel and I have to talk about this? What was that moment for you all? Or was it a collective of events? Was it a series of events that brought you to where you are right now? Or how did we get here, so to speak, as far as you all and your channels and your platforms? This isn't like an in order thing.
Oh, but, I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start it off. Well, folks, brief history. I am a reformed coon. I will readily admit this. I am a reformed coon. And growing up in a somewhat conservative household, I was an extreme liberal. Oh, the rebel, if you will. So what created my channel? Well, I started off, I had the YouTube channel. I put up, little BS videos. But what really kicked it off for me was when I started my podcast back in 2019. And my second episode was about how Kamala and Biden were going to be who we have now. And people said I was crazy. I said, okay. So I said, you know what? I'm pretty good at this political thing. So I said, I'm going to do the podcast dedicated to politics. But then I was like, you know what? My YouTube channel is just sitting there. Might as well utilize it. So I started utilizing it. And, 2 years later, I'm growing it as well as I can. But I think the collective moment was 2012 when I had a decision to make if I was going to vote for Obama again or go for Romney or just sit out. I ended up voting for him, but then I started really looking at the world differently. And I realized that this man is not going to do nothing for us. And maybe everything that I've been taught up to that point might be needing to be reassessed. So I started going back, started doing some research, and then realizing that, yeah, being a coon is not cool because you got a lot of misinformation in your head. And there's people out there that have the correct information. You just got to seek them out. So thankfully, the new black media I got introduced to by conspicuous circumstances. And now 10 years later, I think I'm in a much better position than I was then. And I'm just going to keep going to, I draw my last breath. But it's B1 over everyone. And that's my story.
All right. It's never too late to make the right decision.
Nah, can't be like this no more. Can't do that.
I'll take the next one. As far as for me, man, the story goes back a long time ago. I like the way you phrase it, Afro. It was a collective thing going way, way, way back. My father was in the military, so I always was a geopolitical person, and I always understood, history and, aspects that went on inside this country. And the one thing I noticed at a very young age was that no matter what war happened, no matter what dictator came, no matter what nation rose and fell, anti-Black racism and the anti-Black war never went away. It was always the consistent. You had the Iraq War, you had the other Iraq War, Afghanistan War, Vietnam, Korean War, whatever. But the anti-Black racism never went away. And then when I started to analyze all of these other countries that we would go fight for, being, FBAs, we fought in every single war in this country. The first person who died in this country for this country was Crispus Attucks, and he was from Boston, Massachusetts. That's when he got killed. He was the first person to bleed for this country. And no matter what, always anti-Black racism persisted, and it went across all lines. So I started to study the world as a whole, and I realized a lot of people that I fought for and, say, bring the soldiers home and stop dropping bombs on these people. I realized those people were just as anti-Black as America was. And then that shaped me, and I understood that, we need to just stay on our own accord and on our own page. So I would say around 2016, as a matter of fact, I went to go see a Black luminary go talk. It was out in Savannah, Georgia. I went to go see him. Me and my brother drove out there. And on the way out of the house, I stopped by the internet, and my hero, Muhammad Ali, I seen he was in the hospital. And when I seen he was in the hospital, it floored me, because that's my hero. The whole Black alpha, the whole mentality of being strong, being, passionate, being articulate, being intelligent, being clever, that all comes from, Malcolm X's, the Huey Newtons, the, people I've known personally, the Muhammad Ali's. So I remember going to see this person talk, and I was full of a room full of Black people, and everybody was showing so much love to each other. And it was very deep and passionate. And I realized we don't hate each other like the news says. These are things I already knew, but to see it is another story. But the whole time I was in the crowd, I was thinking about Muhammad Ali. Well, a few days later, Ali passed. And I told myself, I said, that man gave his whole life for our people, and he did it with pleasure. And I seen a comic book, and it had Superman versus Muhammad Ali. If anybody's ever seen that, you can Google it. And I thought to myself, Superman is fake. That's not real. They had to create that. Muhammad Ali is a real person. So I seen that in our community and our culture, we see things for reality, and we don't have to look for comic book heroes and comic book characters to see a hero. So I said, I want to do that same aspect, and I want to bring it to my people in every aspect of society and every corridor of the community, and wherever my people are, I'm there. So then I said, you know what, we got to get this going. And me and Queen Alpha actually sat down a little bit later, and we formulated the whole Black Alpha approach, the Black Alpha style, which is, like I said, is just from the roots of foundational Black Americanism. You can't separate this mentality from, FBA. So we came up with that, whole aspect. And I actually started the Black Alpha Network on February 17th, 2020. And that's Huey P. Newton's birthday, Dr. Huey P. Newton's birthday. And he's my favorite Black revolutionary from the Black Panther Party. So from a collection of Muhammad Ali, Huey P. Newton, the Black Panther Party, our people, our community as a whole, is just a melting pot of everything that we've been through from when I was 6 years old to all the way now. And I said, we're going to bring it, and we're going to bring it for real. So in the future, when people look at the Black Alpha Network, I want them to look at that and, fuel to their fire for whatever they're fighting. So that's where it all comes from, my brothers.
Okay. We have people in. I was wondering, I was like, where's Beatzilla? I had to scroll down in the screen. Who Black Alpha's okay, all right. There we go. Okay, but we're in here. Taurean, we'll do Taurean, and then we'll ask Beatzilla the same question.
Well, for me, it started back in 2016. When I had saw an article that was talking about how white people, as I like to call them, PC, was the face of opioid addiction. And one thing that came to my mind when I was doing that is how back in the 80s, when the crack era was at its highest, like, you know, literally at its peak, how the news put out there about black people with crack, and, you know, how they dealt with black people. It was either jail or death. Sometimes it was both. You died in jail. And then when they put it in, like, and it kind of came full circle with this one, I said, oh, this, I'm a, like, literally in my own way capitalize off of this, because I already know mainstream media is not going to talk about this in the way that I'm going to talk about it. Like, if you was to see, if I still had access to my original channel and you looked at the videos that I did early on, that was literally almost all I talked about for like a good couple of months, because it was January 2016 when that report went out there, and it literally said white people are now the face of opioid overdoses. And that kind of caught me off guard, because I'm like, they actually put something like this out there and they didn't sugarcoat it. And that's when I started, like, literally doing a whole bunch of stories like that, to the point where I started to gain a following. Shout out to Professor Black Truth, because he was a huge contributor to the success of my channel, because he just put out a shout out about me at one time, and all of a sudden I started getting a flood of people coming to my channel. And the thing is, I'm like, you mean to tell me someone like him actually watches me and gave me a shout out? Like, it actually caught me off guard when I, like, you know, so you know how some people get starstruck when they probably see their favorite celebrity, or they shake their hand or come in contact with them. That's how I was when Professor Black Truth gave me a shout out. That's why I always go out of my way, like, if there's an opportunity for me to acknowledge him in my commentaries, to always mention him. Even I have to give a shout out to TBA, because I remember one time somebody had called into a show and they had said their name, and before TBA had went any further, he said, hold on, is this the Taurean from YouTube? It wasn't. It was somebody else. And someone had told me, they said that Jason Black thought that you had called into a show. I was like, I didn't call into a show. As a matter of fact, I've never called into a show. Maybe one day eventually I will, like, you know, if I'm really feeling it, I will one day actually call in. But that was really the kickoff to my channel, was basically talking about how, you know, white people are now the face of opioid addiction, you know, fentanyl, heroin. I stayed in Ohio, like, literally, like, for the longest time, and I always call Ohio to this day the hub. As a matter of fact, I just did a video talking about a doctor who literally beat 14 counts of murder for giving his patients more dosages of fentanyl than they were supposed to. He literally killed 14 people, and he literally got found not guilty of all 14 counts. Like, literally, you don't have to ask, what is he? Yes, he is.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And it's crazy because, you know, like they say, when you, like, contribute to the overdose of somebody and, you know, they die, they're supposed to go to jail. Not in his case. And then on top of that, like, when I was reading it, like, it's so much stuff that came out about that. And, you know, a lot of the nurses and stuff that work with him lost their jobs, not because they were helping him, but because it was guilt by association. Just because they worked with him, a lot of them lost their jobs because of him. So now a lot of them probably won't be able to get a nursing job again because of him. So literally, he literally helped contribute to not only the deaths of people, but to also the loss of employment, and very good employment, because, you know, first off, to get a job in any kind of medical field is not easy, but to lose it is even worse, especially when that's probably your only form of livelihood. But that was the kickoff to my channel. And then eventually I started to branch off and do other things on my original channel. I did something I could not believe I did, and that was for the month of June. I gave PC what they wanted. They wanted a White History Month so bad, so I gave it to them. So in June of 2017, I gave them a White History Month from June 1st to June 30th. I gave them every day a different white person every single day throughout the month. Now, it wasn't the ones that they wanted, but it was the ones that I could come up with. I mean, I wish I had my original channel so you could actually see, you know, all the people that I talked about. It was something like, and the thing is, I started creating that whole narrative, that whole series in October of the year before, and then put the videos together in a week before the May had came in, and then made the announcement at the beginning of May and put the videos out there in June. So that was a very good time for my channel at that particular time. You know, the whole Petty Pendergrass thing arose on that, you know, from that channel. And you know, everything like that, everybody loves those videos because they know whenever they see the letters PvP, they already know what's about to come. And like whoever I, you know, talk about is well deserved. And I said, I don't care who it is on. Like I said, I'm an equal opportunity individual. I talk about everybody. I don't care if, you know, if they're young, old, I don't care what your sexuality is. If you did something that deserves to be talked about, then it's going to be talked about. But I also like to keep a balance on my channel too, and also highlight the what I call the melanated excellence, because we know mainstream media doesn't highlight Black excellence like that. I've always said that when it comes to Black people, when we do bad, they'll lump us all together as it's a Black person, as it's a Black people thing. But when Black people do something great, it's just that one person that did great. And you know, I'll give you an example. Look at the Olympics. When Black people perform in the Olympics, you know, they'll call you a nigga all day here, but the minute you win that gold medal, you're now an American. See, you did it for America. See, it's like it's the formula of how America and how, you know, Dub S works. And speaking of, you know, Dub S, through this, you know, this channel, I've been able to create my own little, you know, code speak. I talked about that a little bit in the space last night about how Black people need to create their own code speak, because to this day, people are still asking me what PC means. They know it's not politically correct because of the tone that I use it in. That's a terminology I came up with back in 2018. And still to this day, people are still asking what it means. And it could probably be somewhere maybe in the title of the video, and they'll still ask what it means. I said, I'm glad there's a mystery. And many times I won't respond to the person asking the question. Now, my subscribers go ahead and tell them that's on them, because I can't tell them not to. But it's still, you know, there. So, you know, PC, Dub S. I even have nicknames for different people. Coonstress, if you know who she is. Tinker Bitch. Well, y'all don't know who that is because I don't talk about that person too often. But when it comes up, if you watch the video, you know exactly who I'm referring to. I got nicknames for days, and that's also a part of the code speak, because we can always use Sambo and Coon and everything like that, but that's such a broad terminology that can apply to just anybody. I like to create nicknames that's literally geared to just that one person. Sometimes I might not, you know, come up with a name. Like when I'm talking about Christian Walker and his extra flamboyant self, I always call him Christina, because I mean, at that point, that's probably what he wants to be. Or whenever I'm talking about Billy Porter, I'm calling him Silly Porter, because he is a goofy despite his sexuality. So it is what it is. But I'm having, like, I would say the best part about this for me is the supporters. It's definitely my subscribers. They definitely are the driving force of my channel. They send me pretty much all the stories, because when I started this channel, I was doing all the legwork. I was the one having to go and look up the different stories myself and put the videos out there. I didn't have a set schedule. I was literally pumping out videos. Like at one point, I would, when at least when the notifications were working, I would be pumping out like 5 videos a day. And it was a lot of the times of stories that I would go and I would find and look up myself, because I didn't have a lot of supporters to actually send me stories. And I created an email, and people would send me stories today. Eventually I had to take the email off because I would get hit by a bunch of spam. And then that's when I created the Discord, which I currently have right now. And that's where a lot of the people send me stories. But then I, you know, with me being on Twitter, Instagram, and stuff like that, people follow me just about everywhere. So I get stories from there too. So I'm in an abundance. And sometimes I'll find stuff myself, or people will tag me in different things. I may not cover every single story that I get because it can become overwhelming, or maybe it's a story that I really don't want to speak on because maybe it's too far out there. But whatever I speak on, I speak from the heart, and I speak genuine. Some of the best stories that I can do are the ones where I don't have to read an article, and I'm speaking straight from, you know, the heart. Like, speaking of heart, when I did the story about Devontae Hart and what happened to him and his family, that story right there still gives me chills to this day. Like, I can't even think about that story without, like, sometimes like almost shutting down, because that story was just extremely gruesome, especially when you think about all the details that were, you know, behind it. That's why I'm so glad that this upcoming week I have vacation coming up, because I can just kind of, I don't want to say unplug, but kind of like kick back a little bit, because sometimes it becomes overwhelming and you just need a little bit of a break from doing all of this. That's why when I had mentioned I was going on vacation like a couple weeks ago, and y'all was saying, "Are you really going on vacation? You know you're gonna still be pumping out them videos." I'm like, nah. I said, no, but I'm really going to take some time off. Like really have some time to myself just for the week, especially since also next week is my birthday as well, and that's usually a time when I really don't want to be bothered, doing a lot of this stuff. But even though I know people gonna still send me stuff to talk about, but it is what it is. But I appreciate it all in all. I know I kind of went on, a little bit, but I have a lot of story to tell. My story is still being written, but that's pretty much all I have right now.
Absolutely, and thank you very much for that. Beatzilla from BeatzillaPDX official. How did you, asking a question, how did you get to where you are now, the point you're at right now, as far as making content for Black empowerment, being Black first? Was it an event that brought you to reality, so to speak? Was it an event that awakened you, or was it a series of events and you reached a point throughout the series where you're all like, this is where I draw the line. I'm going to make a channel and I'm going to expose what we're going through? Or how did it happen for you? What brought you to this point right here?
Well, I guess, I grew up like, for some of those, and for those who don't know me, I'm BeatzillaPDX. And I kind of grew up in an environment of, it's still the kind of the remnant of the Black Power movement. So, like, even in my city, as much as it is PC, as my brother says, we are one of the few people who even had Dr. John Heinrich Clark pen curriculum in our city school system talking about Africa and Egypt. So we grew up a little different. We kind of spoiled. This is also the same city of Joy DeGruy. So we're all from the same community. So just kind of put that in perspective. Like when you grow up in that environment with those individuals at the accessible ready, you kind of just gonna be this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes down to when I finally decided to start a channel, um, it kind of happened by way of interaction online, and I was just seeing the way that everybody could come out and start pushing, and of course it was always during an election time, but they would always push out that same BS jargon and got all those fence riders to just sway one way. And I'm like, yo, if we could get organized and get our voices out here and like how I feel, and I'm sure I ain't the only one, as we see now, clearly I'm not. But at the time, it's like, man, I just need to get something out here. So I started making videos back in 2012. And then this platform right now, I just started in 2020, I believe, 2020. So just the simple fact of knowing that there were other Black folks out there who felt exactly the way I did, and not in my immediate circle. I mean, there's a few that's in my immediate circle, but I knew that there had to be a larger group out there of folks just like me who feel the same way I do, who have the same passions I do for us. And man, that's kind of one of the things that sparked it, because I had a lot of white trolls that were trying to push me in the Russian bot category. So that's initially what had me started even showing my face. Is that my words were being thrown off as being Russian bots. I was like, oh, no. So yeah, that's exactly why I started doing videos. So I initially was never going to make a channel. I was just making sure everybody else got hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. And
Well, I still do that.
absolutely. I'm gonna get to a few of the questions that I've been thinking about, as well as letting the audience know if you all have any questions for the panel, or if you have any questions for any individual in particular, feel 100% free to ask. Also, if anybody in this panel, anybody in this room, if you all have any questions for anybody in here, or just a question in general, you all can feel free to ask.
I wanted to just make a real quick point
Okay.
to Taurean, to what he said about the heart story that he did. I don't know if you remember, but I'm the one that chimed in on your tweet when you did that. It was like, yo, that happened right here in my town. And to add to that, that story is really crazy because, like, I got a cousin that was friends with them women. And so they used to come out to gigs every now and then. They would always make sure to walk past all of my male bandmates to go right to the woman, tell her how good she was, and that's cool, good, give her props. But I just noticed their disdain, especially the one who was driving, her disdain for black men. So then when I found out that, because when this little picture happened with him hugging the cop, when that actually happened, I know a dude who was there on the scene, another photographer. So I was like, was that set up? He was like, yes, they got a white, and that's how I knew about the white moms. So that whole story, man, it was a tragedy from beginning to end. I'm talking about when the kids were still living, and we knew that they weren't in a cool situation, trying to find out what's happening. And when the pressure finally got to their house, that's when they dipped out and drove them babies off that cliff. So, yeah, if you, those little tidbits that you didn't know from the ground here, man, it's a bad story, sad story. And everybody who took part in that, not saying nothing, I'll say this for all of y'all who's watching from here, shame on y'all. That's all I got to. I just had to piggyback on that because I'm glad he touched on that. Thank you.
Okay. I want to start off with the first question, and then we have some questions in the audience. But for the first question, I will speak for myself. This channel that I made has changed my life personally in multiple ways that I didn't expect. Good ways and positive ways. Good ways and negative ways. Okay. This channel, for me, I'm just going to be very brief about this. This channel has given me a sense of hope because I've been able to meet new people. It's given me a self of knowledge because to come up with more content and better myself, I've had to study more. I've had to listen to more speeches that I more than likely would not have had I not have had a channel that I wanted to not regurgitate talking points, but I wanted to learn certain beliefs and ideologies from our master teachers to be able to preach that and to give that into my content. So it's changed that in a positive way. I felt like I've grown as an individual and definitely as a Black first man. Two, it's also affected me negatively. Certain times when I've talked about the police, it's all cops aren't bad. Why are you hating on the police? So if somebody broke into your house, you're not going to call the police then because you must hate them. It's you're so hard on Black women and you just must hate them and you must not be loved. It's I'm the most famous one. I'm racist. I am a racist. I am a quote unquote Black supremacist, which we all know does not exist whatsoever. Also, don't get me started on the interracial dating thing. You already know how much heat I get anytime I mention that. So just briefly, how has this your content in the way of your belief system, how has that affected your life positively and negatively since you've made your content, since you made your channel, so to speak? Because I was doing this way before I made my actual YouTube channel, but once I start the YouTube channel, it really took off there. So if we can all briefly get to that, because I really want to get to the next question we have, starting with anybody.
Hey, I'll take that.
I'll go after you, brother. I'll go after you.
And one love, appreciate that. As for me, I would say that it's affected me greatly in a lot of ways. Just like you were saying, Brother Afro, it's had its ups and downs, but for the most part, I go to bed every night feeling fulfilled. Like everything that I want to do and everything I want to accomplish is actually happening. You know, we all know this struggle right now, it leaves a lot of people hopeless. It leaves a lot of people frustrated, irritated, where you just don't really go nowhere. You know, you sit there and you see the television. I don't want to be one of the people who scream at the TV. You know, that's wrong. He shouldn't have shot him. You know, the guy should have went to jail. I never wanted to be that. And, you know, we always end up playing that role. So I said, I got to do something. So just even getting your voice out and hearing people say things. When I come up with a term, I say certified Black society. I hear people say certified Black society. A young lady the other day on my Twitter page, she said, I remind her of DMX. And she put up a quote of DMX where he was speaking about, you know, trusting people for who they are. You know, he was a real passionate speaker, you know, and that touched me. So I had to retweet it, you know, because DMX, you know, his love, his passion, he was beloved. Anybody can be loved. Only a few people can be beloved. And that lets me know that somebody out there is actually being, you know, reached with what I'm speaking. So I guarantee every day, if you go harder and you keep pushing the line and you keep being, you know, on the cutting edge, everybody know I'm real uncut. This is the smooth talking me right now. There's another side of me that's uncut and just going off. But that's the thing. If you're not going through, you know what I'm talking about, Beatzilla.
Yes,
You're not going if you're not going through the whole spectrum of emotions in this Black struggle, then you're not real. There's going to be days where you're going to be mad, days where you're going to be upset, days where you're going to be frustrated. But as long as you keep firing off and staying true to yourself, that's what's going to happen. So to answer your question, Afro, it's affecting me greatly, because now when I go to bed, I'm like, hey, man, I'm doing something for my people. And I feel a sense of motivation every single time I do a video, every single time I have a conversation. Or right now, I woke up this morning right now knowing that we was going to put this together, feeling like 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%, because it's better than being that guy screaming at the television. It's the guy out there actually affecting change. And you can do it with your voice, you can do it with action, or you can put both those together. So that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you. And before we get to the next speaker, let me give a shout out to Ebony May for her super chat. She says, shout out to the panel of Black masculinity, all caps, Black masculinity, B1.
B1.
Shout out to Ebony May for her super chat. Thank you very much, sister. We greatly appreciate you.
Yes, indeed.
Beatzilla was next, and then it's between Taurean and Kid Gravity.
All right, so for me, I guess I'll start with the negative. I'll start with the negative, man. So the negative for me, I guess I can go back to like high school, middle school and high school. Knowing that, like, I got a friend I met freshman year. He's like, man, it's good to see you doing this. When I met you, you was talking like this, and you still talking like this now. And we've had the fortunate ability, man, to just be. We came up in this real hard, rough era. So within all of the killing and the dope and the drugs and parents and uncles and cousins falling off, we saw the negative, and then we got this real weird crowd in our family. I think a lot of Black folks have it. When you start talking pro-Black, and it does not necessarily involve white Jesus, people tend to start getting very offended. And so it's, well, hey, when you can't do this, well, you know, but we're just saying, let's just look at this. And yeah, I got relatives that don't fool with me no more. So just put it to you like that. So the negative is you will have loved ones not mess with you no more for your beliefs. But if your convictions are your convictions and you own them, you should be okay with that. Because I'll tell you, I'm damn good with mine. And so with that being said, the good part of it, man, knowing that I can sit up here, I can sit back, and I don't even have to be on this panel right now to see strong Black men and see wisdom. I can sit back and just watch all these other brothers give their piece into this space of empowerment. And this empowerment is completely different than everything we saw before. Because this right here, didn't nobody place these brothers here. They are here because they chose to be here. And this, by far, ain't the easy way. So I'm going to tell you, man, it's encouraging for me to see all of y'all, because I know we all catch hell out here, and to see y'all just going through, man, and Brother Alfred, man, just seeing that energy, sometimes you might just need to get that pumped up. He is like our DMX. You might just need to go get a little taste of that just to get your day started if you need that up in you. So just, man, it's a beautiful thing. That's the great thing for me, man. Is seeing all of y'all.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'll go next. So the negative. I did a video about that Ken Reed character who went to Ukraine to go fight, and some Boogaloo boy as well went over there. And I must have pissed off so many Asians and white supremacists because they're still leaving me comments to this day. They didn't like the fact that I was laughing through the whole video because I didn't understand why in the hell y'all would go fight a war that has nothing to do with you. So between that and, like I said, my commentary goes to an area that most people don't think of, and it tends to rub people off the wrong way. But I do that purposely because I want you guys to think, because a lot of times our people, we're told how to think. And unfortunately, when you're told how to think, you don't think for yourself. So when a situation happens that you're going to be left to make a decision that's going to have monumental circumstances, you're going to choose, quote unquote, the easy way out. And that's not always the right way. So maybe I have to change my approach, maybe just a tad. Don't laugh for 5 minutes straight. Don't do that. You know, there's always room for improvement. But the positives, I mean, look, when I really went hard on this channel, I was at maybe, I think I started at 78 subscribers, and that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Now I'm on the precipice of getting that community tab where I can really be an a-hole, but I'll be nice about it. But the main thing that I took away from this journey is everybody on here I met through Twitter, and I swore to God I would never go back on Twitter again. But I said, you know what? To boost the channel up, let me go on Twitter. And I think I've made many strides in that B1 journey that I'm on. Just going back on here, meeting you guys, being in Twitter spaces with you, seeing how you guys move your channels and how you guys tackle, you know, the day-to-day functions of Black people. And I said, you know what? I must be doing something right because you guys have embraced me, and I appreciate that. Even though I am a reformed coon, and we know how the four of y'all feel about coons, we know this. But again, I just want to thank y'all for coming in. And I do have one last thing to say, Taurean. I don't know if you know about this program that they have on YouTube called vidIQ, but I made you a competitor because I'm trying to get to your level. So
I heard of vidIQ.
Yeah, so you and Afro are listed as competitors because I need something to go to achieve.
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's basically like a program. It's like these YouTubers, they show you how to like set up thumbnails and how to get your stuff boosted.
Basically how to optimize your
optimize
your videos, your channel, so it could be pushed by the algorithm.
Right.
Okay.
So,
I used to use vidIQ, but now I use TubeBuddy.
Yeah, I have both, but they have a section on their Afro about how to list channels you want to as your competitors. I said you two are my competitors right now, but in a good way. But yeah, that's the positive and negatives with Kid Gravity Beyond.
Absolutely. Thank you. Taurean. And then after Taurean, we have a few questions from our lovely chat. So after Taurean, we'll get to your questions.
Well, I guess I'll follow how everybody else is doing and start with the negative. My negatives aren't really that bad. It's just dealing with the trolls. That's pretty much it. Depending on whatever the video is, that's pretty much where the trolls dwell at, of them coming over here. I mean, it was a troll yesterday that came in there, and I don't know, they probably were all the same account and started kicking up a whole conversation about crypto in my comment section. I'm like, my video had nothing to do with crypto, and I just went ahead and just deleted and blocked them. But basically dealing with the trolls, like, that's about as bad as I think it could have got for me. I do remember it was one when I was doing the videos talking about Kyle Rittenhouse a few months ago, like back in September. This was before his trial, where I was speaking, talking about him and everything like that. And it was this one PC YouTuber that I guess maybe saw the video and then had a whole panel with all his people that look like they came straight out of a Miracle Whip jar talking about me, and you're like how bad I am and all types of stuff like that. But that's probably as bad as it was. But I'm like, okay, but the thing about I don't know if y'all know about this, but this happened a few years ago. The people apparently I pissed some people off over on 4chan, and they made a whole thread about me. And I said, okay, bet. And at that time, I probably had about 20-something thousand subscribers. And so someone had told me about it. I went and got the link. I posted on the community tab, and I said, look at what they're saying over there about me. When I tell you that my subscribers were so loyal that they literally went over there like a whole army and flooded that 4chan thread so heavy that they were forced to shut that thread down. That thread was gone by the end of the day. That's why I said I love my subscribers so much, because look at what they did. Like, they was over there like speaking blasphemy of. They even pulled, I don't know, some of the pictures that they put up there of me were on my Facebook page, and hardly nobody has access to my Facebook page. I'm like, you know where my Facebook page is, then you must really know me, because I was recognizing pictures from Facebook that wasn't even on Instagram. So they were trying to get that deep, but they didn't get deep enough. They didn't get that far. But yeah, so that's probably like the negatives. Like I said, just dealing with the trolls or whatever. Now the positives is, and I really love these positives. I remember one time I was at work. It was a few years ago, and I was helping this father and his son try to get to where they needed to be inside of the building. And I helped the dad and everything like that. He said, thank you. And the son walked past. He said, you know what? You sound familiar. Is your name Taurean Reign on YouTube? I said, yeah. Like, I was like, how do I respond to that? Because, when I'm at work, I'm not being, what I'm doing here. And he said, I knew it was you because I recognized your voice. Because in my videos, I never showed my face. I always, had like I still do it now. Like, I show my, only show my face mainly like when I'm doing live streams or when I'm doing movie reviews, or my story times. But other than that, it's just a picture. And they said, I recognize you because of your voice. He said, I just wanted to tell you I appreciate your videos. And mind you, this guy, well, you know what? I'm not even sure if he was even an adult. He looked like he was a teenager. So, that kind of caught me off guard, especially when I look at my analytics and it says that my main audience are people who are like in their mid-20s to mid-40s. So when I saw that it was a teenager that said that they watched my stuff, it caught me off guard. Another time was when I was at the gym and I was just working out with my trainer and just having a conversation with my trainer, like they were giving me the instruction to do the workout. And someone had came up to me and said, aren't you Taurean Reign on YouTube? Now, this was a couple years later. And I said, yeah. He said, I watch your videos. You do good work. I really love your videos. Yesterday, I was getting my hair braided, for my trip. And the woman who does my hair, she says, I did not know you did YouTube until you posted your links on the stories. And let me tell you right now, you be having me cracking up with your videos. And I like that you get straight to the point. She said, I'm trying to get caught up. And she said, and she was actually on her way to the Dominican Republic. She's there now. She said, that's what I'm going to be watching on my way on the flight there, is catching up on your videos. So I would say the positives is that my commentaries are reaching far and wide. It brings me great joy when I look in the comment section and I see people tell me, I'm watching you in the UK. I'm watching you in Africa. I'm watching you in all different places around the globe, in different time zones, different area codes, zip codes, different currencies. Like, it's inspirational when you have this super chat and you see people donate and you see the dollar sign, but it's even better when you see a currency sign that cannot be spent here in the States. Like, that's crazy. Like, if you see someone sending you money and it has a pound sign or a yen sign or the Canadian dollar, like, and you be trying to figure out how much money they sent you, got to, well, first off, if you know the color coding, then you know it's a good amount. If it's that red, you already know they sent you a good amount of money. It's over $100. But so when I see stuff like that, that's like letting me know I'm on the right track. And when you also like pull up your analytics and you can see who's watching you from where, what percentage of what gender is watching you, or what percentage of who in what age bracket is watching you. See that you always want to make sure that you stay on top of stuff like that because you want to know who your core audience is. And it's like a good breakdown of that as well. So that way it knows, the algorithm knows when to pick up and who to send the videos out to and who's going to watch it the most. Like the video I did tonight about the black woman in the womb. I already knew that was going to attract a lot of black women because that was the main target, and I purposely I purposely titled it that way because if I gave away too much, then people probably would have been turned off to watch it. But by me leaving it open like that and then leaving a title up there or a thumbnail that says "Dying to Be You," and that says "Dear Black women, they want your womb," it leaves the open-ended question: who is they? They might have an idea, but they don't know who they is. And when I was looking through the comment section before the video premiered, nobody knew who they was. But when it started to premiere, some people started to figure out what it was before I put the main picture up there. And that literally sent out something to the algorithm. And that's why so many people flooded it more than usual. So you just, like I said, as long as you know your audience, your target audience, and whoever it is you're directing to, they're going to always come back. And that's the thing. The thing about that I've learned about with YouTube, especially like over the years, especially with me having the subscriber base that I have, is you have to know who your audience is, number one, and you have to know how to keep them engaged. You have to know how to keep them coming back, or maybe sending this stuff out to people so they can bring and attract new views. That's why I tell people I have so many social media accounts. I have the Instagram, the YouTube, the Twitter, and everything like that, so I can post my stuff everywhere because you never know who's going to watch and who's going to share. You never know how far and wide your message is actually going to spread. So that is definitely a huge positive for me, is knowing that there are many people around the world who I've never met personally, who have never met me, who are watching what I have to say and literally are helping to spread the message. Because let's be real here, we are doing God's work. Lamestream media definitely is not. We are the new black media. That old whatever they had going on over there is about as extinct as the dodo bird. Let's leave it exactly where it is.
Thank you. And I couldn't have said it better myself. I want to get to the super chats. Super chat from Samuel Logan. Okay. Our brother says wisdom is parted to the elders. It's a good thing to see that statement isn't true, or y'all are the exception. Thank you very much for your kind words, our brother Samuel Logan, and thank you very much for the super chat. Another super chat from Mr. Bucket List. Thank you, brothers, for keeping it real. B1. Thank you, Mr. Bucket List. B1. Speaking of B1, that brings me to our very first question from the audience. And if you have any more, drop them down below. But from our first question from Tim Samore, question: what do the panelists feel about certain groups trying to change the meaning of B1, of what B1 means? So this can go in any order. What do you all feel about certain groups trying to change the meaning of B1?
I guess I'll go first on this one. First off, I don't like them trying to redefine what B1 means. And shout out to Jason Black, because he actually defined for somebody who called into his show recently what B1 actually meant. He said it is a greeting. And that's exactly what it is. It's no different than saying hello or how are you doing or anything like that. Just when you say B1, you just reply back with B1. And it's like basically a coded greeting that's, condensed amongst Black people. And the best part about it is you don't have to be just FBA in order to use it. It's just that FBA came up with it. But if you are falling under the umbrella of Black and you are in the diaspora, then, B1 definitely applies to you as well. Unfortunately, some people don't know how to live a Black first lifestyle, but it is what it is. But I hate that people are trying to redefine it because they want to so bad have FBA be seen as this cultish group or whatever it is that they've been trying to refer to it as, because it definitely isn't that. But yeah, B1 is exactly what it is. It's like Jason Black said, it's a greeting. And like I said, it just means to be black first. And, you know, basically put your people first. And I don't know why so many people feel like it's such a bad thing to put your people first, because everybody else does it. They'll put the needs and wants of their group, of their tribe, or whatever you want to call it, before anyone else. Like when I was, you know, showing people, when I was posting up, like when I was telling you I'm getting ready for my trip, and I was posting and highlighting all the different black-owned businesses that I purchased from, somebody had left a comment, and it was in good taste, but they were shocked that I was getting, you know, and supporting these black-owned businesses. Not so much because I was supporting them, but because you hear a lot of black people say support black-owned businesses, but they won't give the black-owned business that dollar. It's easy to say support something because that's free. Anyone can say that. But until you actually put your money where your mouth is, that saying support this and support that's not really going to amount to anything. As a matter of fact, a good chunk of everything that I got from my trip as far as clothing goes was from black-owned businesses, apparel companies. So, you know, I'm literally showing people, yes, I'm supporting these businesses. Yes, it's real. And it's also free promotion. Those companies, those businesses are not paying me. I didn't ask them to pay me to promote their businesses. I did it because I wanted to, and I want to support as much as I possibly can. And it doesn't cost much. I don't know why people try to make it seem like it's such an expensive thing to do. It's not hard. But that to me is what, you know, what B1 means. And for anyone that's trying to redefine it to be something else, they have nefarious intentions.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
I'll go next.
All right.
B1. I'm not a fan of people trying to change the definition either. B1 is a verbal soul brother handshake or soul sister handshake. It is meant to say, you know what? I don't know you, or I might know you, but, you know, stay safe out there. Stay on your path. Stay true to yourself. Do not stray off that path, because we need everyone for this journey. But B1 should also mean that you have to live your life as the way your ancestors would want you to live your life. And that's regardless of family, how you shop, like Taurean says. Hell, I specifically, when I got my medical benefits from work, I looked for nothing but black doctors, because we know how these white institutions with the medical fields, they want to always prop up every other race. I specifically look out for our people. I shop black 98% of the time. I go out of my way. And Brother Nino was trying to start trouble in the comment section, talking about supporting Jamaican restaurants and supporting a black-owned business. If they black, they black. I mean, I'm not going to go in there and ask for the oxtails and then ask them, are you really B1 first? Because if I ask that, they might give me the fatty part of the oxtail, and we already know I'm not paying $800 for no fatty part of oxtail. But being B1 is a mindset. It always has to be, and it always is. It means that you are black first, regardless if you're Jamaican like myself, FBA, ADOS, whatever, Freedman, gay, whatever. Once you strip all that stuff away, we can't blend into society. So the first thing they're going to see about us is black. So we have to not internalize it, but we have to say, you know what? Yes, I'm black. What's the problem? And depending on how they move, we're just going to keep moving. And please, folks, don't be like Roland Martin and say how much of a man you are and a Christian and not say that. He didn't even say he was Haitian. He just skipped away from black. So don't ever do that. Revel in the fact that this right here, everybody aspires to be, bad or good. And that's how I feel about B1. And if you're trying to change it, the hell with you. Say you're J1 if you're Jamaican, or H1 if you're Haitian, whatever. But leave B1 alone. You don't want that smoked.
Okay, Beatzilla. And
Yes,
if
indeed.
Black Alpha comes back, we can ask him. If not, we'll move on to the next question.
All right. Well, for me, um, I look at, I see some people, just saw a video today I was not aware of until today, that mentioned about some people in the B1 space, the people who have been here, um, trying to control the, I guess, definition of it, which it's already been defined by the authors of it. So there wouldn't be anything to redefine. It would just be stick to the definition that's already been laid out. And I see a lot of people going off trying to do a lot of this and that and say, well, this person says B1, that person says B1. As far as us and the new black media and the grassroots have gone, we will always point you back to Jason Black, back to Professor Black Truth when it comes down to breaking down the B1 situation. If you want to know about FBA, you can go to Tariq Nasheed. There is no confusion there as far as this side of the fence goes. If you have just cracked your egg and have now called yourself enlightened, and Twitter Spaces has definitely become into a place for a lot of people who are brand new and may not understand where all of the verbiage that they're using originates. And when you have that, things can get confused and convoluted, and then you'll always have those ops out there that will use every opportunity of miscommunication for derision. So that is my problem with people even bringing up the question of like, wait, what's B1? Because truth be told, that question did not exist until 2022. It's been just completely understood all this time, but now in 2022, all of a sudden, now it's a big question. When I see stuff like that, it's like, why? Because we all know what Black First is all about. It's a greeting, and if it goes further than that, we have to check your paperwork. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Black Alpha, and then we will have to, and I understand you guys want to get in depth with the answers, but we'll have to speed up some of the things because we got a lot of questions left, and I know we don't have too much time. Trying to be respectful to our panelists, but Black Alpha, what do you
Yes,
feel
indeed.
about certain groups of people trying to change the meaning of B1?
You can hear me well, fam?
Yes, sir.
All right, straight up and down. I think that these groups are agents. I think they're the modern day COINTELPRO. I think they're basically Black Lives Matter that exists on a Twitter space. Like Beatzilla was saying, these folks didn't even exist a year or so ago.
Wait.
And anytime someone shows up out of nowhere and they're trying to redefine or remodel what is already established within the community, these people have a hidden agenda. We say over here on the Black Alpha Network, you're going to either have the Black agenda or you're going to have Black agents. And these people are agents, and we have to view them the same way that Black Lives Matter did. What happened with Black Lives Matter? They showed up and they tried to remodel everything that people were working for in Ferguson. Our brother Darren Sills called them out. And I feel we're doing the same way. And I don't even like saying those people's names. I just like referring to them as the people on the other side of the fence. But it's real that they're not on this side of the fence. This is a thorough side. These are real brothers that are true to the traditions, to the practices, and the practices of our elders and our community leaders and our pillars in the community. So I think these people are agents, and I believe we have to start treating them as such, hands down. But in terms of the term B1, it's exactly that. It's Black first, just like everybody is, themselves first. Every other community. I tell people, I say, don't get mad because Black folks is on some Black first. We showed up to the party that y'all been at for years. You just mad that we came to the party. We've been at this party. Y'all was in there throwing goddamn popcorn in the air and popping bottles, being white first, Asian first, whatever first, dogs first, cats first. Well, we Black first. So if you upset by that and you got a problem with it, then that shows you that you're anti-Black anyway. So we have a lot of anti-Blackness coming from outsiders, and we have anti-Blackness coming from insiders. And these people on the other side of the fence, basically what they are is they're the opposite of the grassroots. And we knew these people were coming.
Because once we got on code, we knew that somebody was going to come in and they were going to try to shift the energy in the opposite direction. I always say on my channel, I say miseducation, misrepresentation, and misdirection. This is what they thrive upon. So Black First means about being yourself, being your family, representing it well. All you brothers are Black First, and I try to always represent the energy that we have everywhere I go in a proper light. And anybody who tries to disrupt that or decay that type of energy, we handle them accordingly, and we make sure that the narrative stays the same. Because I do know this. I would say, 10 to 15 years from now, they will love for the next generation not to have a B1 anymore or not to have an FBA. They see that we're self-identifying, we're coming up with new terminologies, and those terminologies are powerful. So they're trying to make sure that in the future, they go back to African-American or they go back to what's Blackness. They want that to happen. So they're in full mode right now. And I believe this summer, they're going to be in extra mode to try to strip away the terminologies that we've created. And they're going to have a hard time because ain't no energy like B1 energy, because B1 energy is too thorough.
Absolutely. I want to get to the super chat from my brother Ace Keeper. I showed it so it just wouldn't disappear because I know sometimes super chats do that. He goes on to say the grassroots is where the truth is nourished, protected, and disseminated to who is ready to receive it. Thank you for being a good oh damn, I don't even know how to pronounce the word. I can barely see that word.
Disseminated?
No, not disseminated.
Custodians.
I can't see it. My laptop is. I need to get a better monitor and a better phone. It keeps knocking people out for some reason in my spaces. Custodians of the truth. Afro, you did. Afro, did you have an aha moment where you were taught these teachings, or were you taught these teachings? Okay, so that's first off, thank you, Ace Keeper, for the super chat. Did I have an aha moment? I not necessarily, but kinda. It was a little bit of both for me. For me, my thing, my parents were always kind of on that pro-Black stuff. They were never like very, very pro-Black, but every so often they would mention it. And I grew up knowing that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America and that Black people got mistreated by the police. Black people got mistreated by politicians, that we were always ignored. I grew up with that understanding. So it was kind of like a buildup of me. When I would hear like non-Black kids say the N-word in school, it would put me in this emotional rage that I wouldn't get under really any other circumstance. Like I could take jokes, I get made fun of, I could take jokes, but then if it was like a racial element to the joke, I was very upset with that. And I always knew I had a passion for my people. I would say my aha moment was when I was 18, and this happened shortly after Trayvon Martin was murdered, which tied into this because I thought that George Zimmerman was clearly going to go to jail at that time. That's what I believe, that there's no way in God's earth that George Zimmerman was going to be able to get off under no circumstances. Okay. But this was during the trial or shortly around that time. I was pulled over by the police because a Karen called the cops on me. And they called the cops on me because I was in the wrong neighborhood. And I'm being very short with this story. I made a wrong turn. It was like the middle of the day, 9 o'clock in the morning. I was going somewhere, made a wrong turn, there was a very narrow road, pulled into the driveway because a cop was coming behind me. And I didn't want the cop to say, you're blocking the street. So I pulled over. I put the address in the GPS, pulled out. I saw the Karen on her phone. I didn't think of anything. I felt it in my gut, like, yeah, let me get out of here. As I was leaving, I saw the cop speed up behind me, pulled me over, asked me to step out of the car, asked me what I was doing in that neighborhood, questioned me for about 15 minutes, and I told him I was lost, kept telling them. They searched me. They wanted to search the car. They eventually searched the car. Unfortunately, I didn't know that. I didn't know, but I thought if they searched the car, it's probably going to be faster for them to leave me alone. So as they're searching the car, one of the officers said, it was two of them, two white officers. The second officer was all like, you know what? As one of them is searching the car, you follow me. And I followed him to the trunk, and he told me to sit on the trunk of the car. So at the second I sat on the trunk of the car, you can kind of say that was my aha moment, because my eyes almost popped out of my head. Like, nobody's watching him in my car. What if he put something in my car? Then nobody's gonna believe me. So I literally just turned back to see what he was doing, and the officer was like, don't look back. And I'm like, don't, like, why not? He was like, don't worry about him. You know, just talk to me, and let him do what he has to do. So I'm not even saying anything. I'm thinking, like, damn, I gotta tell people, because these people are clearly gonna throw me in jail. I'm gonna go to jail. Then he got out the car and he said, you know what? You seem like a nice kid, so we're gonna let you go. And that, you can say, that was my aha moment. After that, I started following channels on YouTube. I followed a brother named Phil Scott, his name was the Advice Show at the time. This was way back before the suit and tie and everything, way back. Before that, when I told my mother about it, she told my cousin. My cousin had me watch a movie called Hidden Colors. Hidden Colors let me know how deep the situation is, as far as black people in general. Then I started following certain channels on YouTube. Then I followed Phil. Through that, I was started to see Tariq Nasheed kept popping up. Interviews with Tariq Nasheed kept popping up. And I started watching those interviews. Then I found out he had a YouTube channel. Then when I found out he had a YouTube channel, I found a whole bunch of other black media channels, and then it kind of went from there. But that was like my aha moment. And thank you for that question. I will say, let's get to the next question real quick from our brother Logan, Samuel Logan. He says, where is it? Okay, here it is. Question for the panel. There are many Twitter spaces going around getting a petition about FBA being a hate group. What I have seen is that they are just hating on Tariq. What is your take? So, what is your take about? And thank you for your question, brother Samuel Logan. What is your take on FBA being considered a hate group, and then that just being them hating on our brother Tariq?
I could go real quick because I'm real short. For me, I just look at it as op behavior and agent behavior. It could be one or two things, but at the end of the day, they're not sincere. All they're doing that for is attention for themselves. Like I say, cloutopia. So that's it. It's just clout. I wouldn't feed into that. But we do have to actually combat it. So anytime you see that put up, that is dangerous. So block it or report it.
I just got 2 words. Screw them.
Hold on. Screw them. Okay.
Oh, I could touch in on that. You guys know I got more than 2 words. It's hard for me to stay at 2. FBA is not a hate group. FBA is the hated on group. And there's a difference between being a hater and being hated on. We are hated on. And everyone uses projection whenever it comes to us. You already know. That's reverse racism. Remember that a few years ago? Black folks do it too. This is the modern day version of that. And unfortunately, it's coming from a lot of people who have bones to pick with FBA for a lot of different reasons and B1 society. Just the other day, we had a space talking about Pan-Africanism and the Africans had issues. Then you got these Secure Lives Matter got issues. The Dominant Society got issues. The Black and Brown Coalition got issues. The Minority Coalition got issues. Leeches of Color, they got issues. Everybody got a problem with FBA because FBA is on a different wave. They know how it go. We walk different. We move different. We talk different. Our style is just, immaculate. What would my man Mike Tyson say? We're indefensible. They can't see us in no facet. Everybody hates us because they ain't us. They want to be us. So this has just had a lot of jealousy. What my man said, he said, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Well, so is jealousy. So it's just jealousy manifesting itself in Twitter spaces, manifesting itself through embarrassment, manifesting itself through FBA trolling. And, the trolls now are agents and the agents are trolls. So when you put those two together, man, it's going to be a long ride. But unfortunately for them, we're going to do some regulating. We're going to put them in their place and we're going to let them know what's up. And, if somebody's got an issue with Tariq, they tend to take it out on the whole community. And if someone has an issue with the community, they focus it on Tariq. That's why there's an onus that we got to all hold each other down, from the biggest, the smallest, the tallest, the man, woman, child. It doesn't matter. If you come at one FBA, you got to come at the whole team. So defending each other is what we got to do. And not just FBA, but also, like we said, B1s. And I always say certified Black society. All of us together, we got to represent each other, and we got to hold each other down, because there's a lot of ops that want to come for us. And if you don't hold your family down, nobody will. So these people out here trying to make us a hate group and all that, they're doing some shit that, you know, they've always done. They did the same thing to the Black Panthers. They got to get some new material. They got to come up with some new material. They can step their trolling game up. Their trolling game is real whack right now. So you're trying to make FBA something that we're not. Black America's been dealing with that shit for 500 years. 500 years. So this is just another play in it, just another step in it, and just another thing that we're not going to walk around. We're going to step over.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When I hear that, it reminds me of when the government tried to coin that phrase BIE, which stands for Black Identity Extremists. And when you broke it down, what that was, all it was talking about when Black people were just speaking on Black issues. Like they literally tried to put them on the same scale as actual white nationalist groups. Like they tried their hardest to put us right there. Like they all like practically had BIE at number like 2 on the list. They probably wanted them to be either number 1 or tied for number 1 if they had it their way. And I think they got like one person under that whole BIE thing, but it didn't last. It's almost like they were trying to make an example out of it. But the thing is, I forgot what the woman's name was. It was a Black woman. She literally went toe to toe with Dub S right there on the floor about that thing. She was like literally breaking, like almost pretty much making that person bend the knee. Like she had him literally stumbling over his words. Like it was gold.
Yeah, and, Representative Bass.
Okay, thank you. She literally had them like stunned. Like they could not even get their words together because she was literally breaking down every talking point like piece by piece. Like how is this even equivalent? It's not. You're just trying to put them there because you just want to have Black people on a watch list, and nothing, no points check off to say that they're this or that they're this or that they're this. They were like, she was like, have they gone around like burning anything in the name of Blackness? Have they gone and killed anyone in the name of Blackness? Have they done this and that and then Black? No, you're just getting mad because they're protesting, or you're just getting mad because they're talking about their people. Like that doesn't equate. But see, that's where it goes back to the whole reverse racism thing. They want to find a way to be oppressed so bad. I did a video where you had this PC man got so mad and so irate at a Popeyes drive-through because the Black employee allegedly called him a cracker. And he got so mad at that and said, she called me a racial slur. He come in there and he get all upset, trying to get in the manager's face, trying to get in her face. And then that's when he started calling him the N-word and then escalated it and said, I'm going to lynch you. Then that's when it got like serious. And the thing is, the girl that, called him the cracker, she just sat there and was just like so nonchalant about it that she even turned calling him a cracker into a song until he left the store. He was so mad, and that's what I'm talking about. They really want to be oppressed so bad. I'm like, it's kind of too little too late for that, because not only did you oppress us, you oppressed the entire globe. You even oppressed some of your own people. I mean, look at all the cases going on right now where a lot of white people are getting off for hurting and harming white people. Like, I told you, that code is very wicked to the point where it's literally lost like in some other universe somewhere. Like, it's very weird. But for people that's trying to, say that, that this is a cult or it's, a terrorist group or an organization of like, they really have no legs to stand on. And a lot of it is coming off of social media. Like, I have yet to see anyone implement this in real life. Like, I have yet to see anybody have any protests saying that FBA should be seen as a hate group or anything like that. If they was to try to take this to Congress or the Supreme Court, they would laugh them out of the courtroom. They probably wouldn't even make it onto the grounds. They probably see them coming around a mile away. You see that? Turn them away. Like, go back. Like, please, just go back. Because you have nothing there. You don't have anything solid enough to stand on to make this claim. But they want it to happen so bad because, let's be honest, we are putting fire under their ass right now in a way that has never been done before. And in a way to try to silence us, they have to do these underhanded tactics, which again, it's a historical thing because what have they always done when it came to Black progress in the past? They found a way to sabotage it. You know, Black Wall Street, all the other towns that were, you know, Black towns, and, you know, all stuff like, you know, really what it boils down to is an envy thing. It's a jealousy thing. Like I said, we are the trendsetters of the world. I'm going to stand firmly on that until I'm blue in the face and 6 feet in the ground. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Thank you very much for that. I will answer briefly, then we'll go to the next question. Two, I see a lot of people asking trollish questions. I'm just gonna ignore those questions because I want to get to the legitimate questions. FBA cannot be a hate group because FBA is not a group. It's a lineage. It literally is a lineage. You can't say it's a hate group. That's like saying African Americans is a hate group. That's like, it's not a group. It's not a membership type thing. They're saying that because us as FBA, we're making a lot of progress, and what we're doing is that we're being very exclusive now. We're gaining a lot of knowledge of self that recently we didn't have. So with that, and we're starting to be exclusive, and it's mainly due to the fact that we deserve reparations. So we're saying no, nobody else gets it except for FBA. And they're getting mad about that. So that's why they constantly ask, okay, well, when are you guys going to drop this FBA stuff? Like go back to the African American stuff. When are you guys going to go back to that? And when we tell them we're not going to go back to that, they want us to get shut down by saying, okay, well, you're a hate group then. That means you're a hate group. Fortunately, it's not being, nobody's taking that serious because people are recognizing that FBA is the new term for our lineage. It's just the lineage. So it can't be a hate group because it's not a group. It's an ethnicity. And you can't say you can't put a label of a hate group on an ethnicity.
And also,
and if you could, it damn sure wouldn't be ours.
And also, I wanted to throw this one like piece in there. Notice that all the backlash started to come when the conversation of reparations really started to amp up. Remember, initially when the conversation of reparations started, for many it was seen as a pipe dream. Like, oh, they're going to talk about it for a little bit and they're going to move on to the next thing because that's what they're known to do. They didn't realize that the talk of reparations was going to literally go for days. Then days turned into weeks, then weeks turned into months, and then months turned into years, and it's still being talked about, even down to the point where it now has solidified itself to in a lineage that is now known as FBA. And even furthermore, out in California, where they have now approved it, where they're going to do it on lineage based, which is what we've been trying to get for the longest, because you cannot just leave it so broad. So the thing is, that's where it comes down to. See, they feel if they can declare something as a hate group, but like you said, it's a lineage, so it's like falling on deaf ears is like a waste of time. But if they could get it hypothetically labeled as a hate group, that means that they're not going to give money to those who are classified as a hate group. But I beg to differ, because how many of these hate groups out here are heavily government funded? Because a lot of them have ties to the government. I'm looking at you, the Klan. Let's be completely and 100% honest here. They traded in them robes for cop uniforms, firefighter uniforms, lab coats, doctor's coats, all types of. They're wearing different hats nowadays. They're not wearing the sheet anymore. I mean, they might wear it on the weekend after a certain time, but during the week, they carrying briefcases. They the ones, maybe serving your food. They might be the ones that are nursing you back to health, possibly, but that's all a cover. And that's basically how they're doing it right now.
Absolutely. I want to get to a few more questions, and brothers, I respect your time. I definitely do, but this is just such a rare moment in Black media history. So, I definitely want to ask you a few questions before we all handle our business. The next question, I gotta get to it. Sorry. I know you said to skip it because we're going on, but I want to ask it because it was a great question. Isn't B1 also a mindset? When white supremacy gives the hand signal,
Mhm.
it tells more than a greeting, but it tells you their mindset and the importance of the code you adhere to.
I
So
think I answered that.
yeah, so that's just a piggyback because
Yeah.
we're saying it's a greeting, but Ebony is also asking, isn't it a mindset as well? And that can be quickly answered. My answer to that is yes. B1 is a mindset. It's a greeting initially. That's like the first level, and then level 2, it's the mindset.
Right. It's
Anybody
like
can
I
say B1. You don't have to be B1 to say B1, but a lot of people say it and aren't B1. The
right.
mindset, that's the second level. That's where we look at. That's the vetting process part.
Right. It's like I said earlier, it is a mindset because you should live your life to see black excellence. That's how you're supposed to move in life. You're not supposed to be, okay, I'm B1, but you're going to get your ass whooped by the Asians or you're going to kiss up the white people. That's not how you're supposed to move. It has to be, everything you do has to either benefit you as a black person or benefit somebody else as a black person. Basically, you're paying it forward.
Okay. Thank you. Black Alpha, are you
Yeah, I'm right here, brother.
as far as B1 being a mindset, what do you say to that?
It's funny because only when it comes to B1 does these things get so confusing. The mentality and the mindset gives way to the lifestyle. It's no different if someone was in a religion. If you say this in a religion aspect or you phrase it with some religion behind it, then all of a sudden everybody understands it. If you say this when it comes to being an American, I'm proud to be American, all that shit, then everybody understands it. When we start talking about B1 and FBA and you associate blackness with it, then it becomes such a confusing item. It's not confusing at all. The mentality gives way to the lifestyle, just like every single thing you do in life. If you're a good father, it's because you have the mentality to be one. If you're a good husband, it's because you have the mentality to be one. It's the same thing in regards to your race, and it's the same thing if you apply it to your lineage. So B1, though it's a mentality, it's also a lifestyle that comes with the mentality. You can't separate the two of them. Very rare in life do you see someone have a mentality, but they don't have the behavior to match it. If someone has got that, backwards, then it's hard to explain it to them. Now, you can't put it more clear than that. So yes, it's a mentality, but it's an action, and you may see the action with your eyes, but the mentality is up here in your mind. So as long as people got it upstairs, you're good to go all the way around.
Yes, sir.
I got a little piece. My thing is this: when it comes down to understanding the B1, it's like, is it a philosophy? Well, I would have to ask anybody who has that question: is it a philosophy that you subscribe to already without anybody telling you black first? And that's the gut check. So it's not about how we define it. Truth be told, because we already told you it's a greeting. We understand. We are all on the same page here. The question is, you're asking a question about, is it a mind state or is it a mindset? Is that a mindset for you? That's the question.
Yes, yes. Before we get to you, Taurean, let me give a shout out to Summer Rain for her super chat. Thank you very much, sister. I love my black man, strong black men on code. Well, thank you very much, and we all love our black sisters, our strong black sisters on code.
And
Thank you
before I
very much
get,
for your super chat.
but before I actually get to what I was going to say, and shout out to that particular super chat because it made me think of the video that D Tubman had put together, where she was highlighting the different black men. It was at the end of a segment that Jason Black did, and she had put it on her channel, but she made sure to put a segment, like a good 2-minute clip together, where she was playing that song by Angie Stone, Black Brother, which is like one of the very few songs that we will get in positive representation of black men. How many years did that song come out? But I'm glad that it stood the test of time. But well, yeah, like when it comes to B1, yeah, it's definitely, it has a multitude, of reasoning, like I guess you could say meanings behind it. It's not as, out there or complex as many people are trying to make it out to be. I think a lot of people who are trying to make it into a whole bunch of other things are trying to be willfully obtuse. They're trying to be willfully ignorant, like they know what it is, but they're trying to play dumb, like they don't know what it is. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Saying B1 is not just limited to FBA. Like, we have Kid Gravity up here who isn't FBA, and he says B1 all the time. We had some people in the chat who are out of Canada, and they said B1 when they came into the chat. I said B1 can apply to any Black person who falls under the umbrella of Black in the diaspora. It's that we're just under different categories, Black, because we're, from different areas around the world. But B1 is that one universal reading that applies to all of us. And for people to try to misconstrue it on purpose, because I'm gonna be honest, they're not doing it on accident. A lot of them are being just being ignorant. That's very disingenuous. Like, what it means, the definition of it. So don't try to go out of your way to try and confuse yourself, to try and confuse others.
Yes, definitely. Man, we got some more questions. But let's keep the questions kind of short. But I'm gonna introduce a special surprise guest that we have. Our sister ZEZE is in the building. So everybody be one to our sister ZEZE. How are you doing, sister?
How you doing?
Pretty good. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Yep, can't complain. Any day above ground, live it.
Right.
Okay.
Pleasure.
So continuing with the questions, and this goes in any order. Well, I want ZEZE to answer first because she's just coming in. If anybody hasn't seen our sister ZEZE's channel, I will put the links in all of her social media in the description below shortly after we're off. But our question from Ocean Lewis: what is your take on folks shitting on the fact that Tariq is building a museum?
Where's the museum, nigga? Why do y'all care?
Oh God! I mean, Tariq got a lot of haters. He got a lot of haters. And it's a powerful thing, low key, because it's a reflection of how powerful he is, how influential he is. And people are afraid of that. People are jealous of that, influence that he holds. And it's honest, but that's a deflection tactic, though. The man is getting a museum. We see how long it took. Dr. Umar, that's a whole nother story. But we see how long it took him to get the damn buildings for his school. And so it's like, you got to understand, he's buying something. He's a person of influence, a Black man at that, heterosexual Black man at that, of influence, who's B1, who's trying to do something for Black Americans specifically, who's pushing a Black American agenda, and they don't want that. So the people he has to buy it from, you got to understand that they are being tactical with this. It's like the first plot he had. I think he said that they sold it to some people that wanted to make a weed store or something like that. So they're purposely trying to elongate this process of doing it. Hopefully he gets somebody that can be like the bait person for him, so they don't know it's him buying it, type thing. Hopefully he gets into that, but it's a deflection. Like, come on, the brother is getting a museum, and it's something we need. We don't have many museums, many places generally that actually blatantly speak about our specific lineage, that tells truth, about more than just that goes behind just slavery. It even talks about our native lineage. It talks about, the influential people in our community that has really affected us and it's really exposed, like Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. It's a shame I didn't learn about her until a few years ago. I should have learned about her when I was in elementary school. I should have been doing book reports about her, about Dr. Nellie Fuller. I should have been known about people like this, So our children, it's important for our children, our teenagers, adults, all of us to be able to go to places and easily learn about things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's something we should learn. We should have easy access to, so it's a deflection. People behave.
Exactly. I'm gonna go next. Then I'm gonna let other people in the panel go. I've donated to the museum multiple times. I've been following Tariq. People accuse Tariq of quote unquote scamming. Everything I've seen Tariq say he's gonna do and like put forth, like not just say I'm thinking of, actually like have the crowdfunding, he's done. Every movie he said he's gonna do, he's done. Every project he said he's gonna do, he's done. I know he's going through a difficult time, with the museum because they're giving him a difficult time, but it's not been like a long time since he's got the money, to be honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who are talking about where's the museum, it's been so long, where's the museum, they never wanted him to get the money anyway. And like Tariq says, the second he builds the museum, they're going to nitpick some problem. These are people who didn't like Tariq personally. They don't necessarily have a problem with the museum. If a white person did the same thing, they wouldn't have a problem. They'd be praising the white person. These are people who don't like Tariq and who are hating on him for no reason. And that's my take on it.
Again, where's the museum, nigga? Why do y'all
Nino
care?
says, "What's up to you, Z?" He wanted me to tell you that.
Oh, peace, Nino.
Yeah, why do y'all care if the man builds it or not? You know what it is? I think they think they're not going to get a section in there, so they're just going to say, you know what? We're just going to make sure that we derail this as much as we can. I guess Africans can't get to LA to go look at it, but they'll go see Kobe's statue. I don't get it. Why would you hate on this? Y'all have a whole continent over there. There should be a museum in every country, but y'all are putting up 600-foot Jesus statues and rubbing on Jesus for Easter.
White Jesus.
White Jesus. Well, Cesar Borgia. Shout out to Cesar Borgia. That's their God, but it's not my God. But this is not your fight. Your fight should be over there to get them Chinese and them Arabs out, and get your people out of Libya. But y'all focused on the wrong thing because Tariq's name gives y'all relevance, which is hilarious. But that's just my take on it.
I think what cracks me up the most about it is when they come and troll him in the spaces and they lead with that. Like, it'd be so funny to me. It's almost like, do you know you about to get roasted? Like, literally that other stream, that other sort of space he had the other night when he said, "You eating on that Red Cross rice?" That thing is living rent-free in my head ever since he said that. I was literally in my room cracking up so loud when he said that. I said, "Red Cross rice? I gotta write that one down." But yeah, like they do that. I said they doing that to troll because, like you were saying, it's a personal thing. They have something personal against Tariq. What they're really mad at is that they don't have a Tariq Nasheed representing them. That's what it is. And the thing is, like, when you think about like a lot of the people that come from their background, a lot of them have I don't know which one it was that said, I don't know if it was Jason Black or Tariq. He said, y'all come from a backstabbing culture, a culture of backstabbers. Like, you might have someone that's about to do something, and then all of a sudden, right when it's about to happen, you have someone right there with the blade ready to impale it in that back, so it doesn't happen. And when I'm listening to that, at first I wasn't really vibing with it, but then I look at and sit back and just observe. I said, you know what? It might be something to that. And what they're really mad at is that they don't have someone like a Tariq Nasheed in their community that's willing to like really push forward and really do something. Because remember, Tariq Nasheed, this is a man that got banned from going into Europe to promote one of his hidden color films. Right as he was in the airport to leave, they said, "Oh, are you Tariq Nasheed?" He was like, "Yeah." "Oh, we just got a so-and-so message from over here. You're not allowed to come into the country." Let me tell you, if I was a resident of London or the UK or wherever he was premiering that at, I would be raising all types of hell, because I would have been like, I'm looking forward to seeing this phenomenal documentary. I've already seen the other one, so I already know the next one's going to be better, only to find out that you banned him there because in their eyes, you're spreading propaganda. They like, you can keep that over in the States, but you're not going to come and poison the minds over here. But I'm like, you do realize that there is the internet and people can find ways to watch it. They may not be there in the room with the creator, but they're going to find a way to watch it. And I'm sure he knows that people watch it because he has a global reach. If they're telling him about what happened in this film and that film, that means they found a way to watch it. It's just that they weren't able to see it in the format that they wanted to see it. And I'm like, people need to realize we are in the age of information. We are in advanced technology. It's not like it was 30 years ago when if something got banned there, it got banned. Like, it was no way you were going to see it. But we live in an age now where anything could be seen by a VPN. It's a wrap. That's all you need. Really, that's all you need. So yeah, going back to like, how they feel about, Tariq person, like I said, it's a personal vendetta. he probably doesn't even know why it is. He may not know. But it's just the way, I think it's, he has a way with words. We all know he has a way with words, and the way that his demeanor is so calm about it. He doesn't have to like jump at you or get loud with you. It's very calm. It's very tame. And that's one thing a lot of people who are envy of him don't like, because what it is we have this stereotype put onto us that we're loud, we're belligerent, we're always cussing, we're always fighting and everything like that. So it's almost like they're trying to bring that out of him. And when he doesn't deliver what they want, then they get even more irate. And it's the weirdest thing.
Okay, I go next. Something that I've noticed, and it's on a couple fronts. One being the fact that people who have never lived out on the West Coast, they tend to have this idea that there's like these enclaves of black communities here, of wealthy, rich black folks in concentrated areas. There's nothing like that on the West Coast. So I hear people say, well, he got all that money, he gonna move all the way up to where the white folks stay at. Let me tell you something out here. This is where they really romp at. They rob banks out here like it ain't shit. I don't know what y'all think the West Coast is. It's the wild, wild West. If you sat out there in your hood like food with a bunch of $1 million, you won't have it very long. That's just not wise. And as a man, ain't nobody giving us no passes. So if you rolling around the hood in a Bentley, guess what? Them youngsters is coming for a part. I don't know what y'all think these streets is out here, but it ain't sweet. So if you want to have money, you got to go where it's safe, period, whether you like it or not. So for me, I think a lot of people get things misconstrued because they're not in that tax bracket. And it's a lot easier to complain and punch up and swing up from your 1-bedroom apartment to a man who's sitting in the back of his Bentley on Twitter Spaces talking to you from his garage. So people get this mental picture of, I think he should be like this, and not just let that man do him. He got 20 years in the business. 7 movies and 5 books, which a few are bestsellers. Is he not supposed to have money? I'm confused. People not understand what being in the business is. You're going to make money. That's why you're in the business. Now, he's took that and brought it to the empowerment space. Look at the noise we have now for all of these other voices. Stop looking a gift horse in the mouth. That's all I can say.
And to piggyback off of that real briefly, then we'll go to Black Alpha. And then the next question, Tariq is not supposed to be the savior of black people. No one individual is supposed to be the savior. When I hear people talking about, well, why didn't Tariq do this? Well, why didn't Tariq do this? Well, why don't you do that? Tariq is doing more than what he's supposed to be doing already, in my opinion. I mean, he's helped so many, and I'm not going to go down the list of all the things Tariq has done, but Tariq is not supposed to be out here doing everything. Why are you not? If you feel like a school should be built, then you should be taking the actions to build that school. If you feel like a hospital, we should buy land, then that is what you are supposed to be doing. Why are you shitting on somebody for doing something that you don't feel should be done? Then you should be doing that. Tariq isn't supposed to be out here saving everybody. If you feel like something should be done, then you need to do it. That's that mentality that too many black people have, where we just put everything on one person and say, okay, well, you're going to lead us, and then I'm going to nag and what's that term called? Be a backseat driver to the person who's supposed to be leading us to the promised land. And I don't like that. I don't like when people give criticisms of, why are you not doing this? Why are they supposed to be doing that? To be honest, Tariq shouldn't have to. He's doing enough. He's doing more than a lot of people are criticizing him. I'll say that much. But Black Alpha, what do you think?
Man, they hated Tariq Nasheed every step of the way. Every step of the way. What you said, Beatzilla? 7 movies, 5 books, and they hated him before the books was even printed. This man get hated before his product even come out. The books weren't even made. They weren't printed up yet. The movies ain't came out, and the museum ain't up yet, and they already hating on this man. In a lot of ways, what it really is Tariq Nasheed represents everything they hate about foundational Black American society. He's true to being an FBA. He's true to being Black first. He's on the right side of all of our movements, and this is what they can't stand about him. Everything that we represent, they take it out on this guy. You know, we see it. This is why a lot of us, you know, should always defend brothers like him who are doing the right thing and standing on the right position. And he never gets knocked off his pivot. Never. They try to, you know, hit him with backdoor questions around the corner and undermine him, and the man always stays solid. This is why we got to always represent people like him and hold him down. Really what it is they don't like FBAs, and they don't like him because he represents FBAs in a good, positive fashion. They want to get dirt on this man, but they can't find none, so they try to create some. Even if they got to stoop to the lowest trolling available, even if they got to stoop to the lowest trolling that they can possibly fathom or create, they always do this. And they've always done this to anybody who's been in the forefront. I don't use the term leader, but I say who's in the forefront. They did this with MLK. They did this with Malcolm X. They did this with the Black Panther Party. Those of us growing up in school, we remember they said the Black Panther Party was like the KKK. That was a misnomer that they would always promote throughout years because it's a way to smear and slander whoever's in the forefront of our community. And Tariq Nasheed is the main one that they put this on. It's funny, though, because they get mad at Tariq Nasheed for making a museum that is grassroots, for the people, by the people. But Black Lives Matter is running around here right now with 90 million on the books that they took, not to mention probably another 90 off the books, and ain't nobody say nothing. So if he was running around here talking about all lives matter, and if he was running around here talking about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson talking points, they donate to his museum. But the fact that that museum is B1 grassroots and it's by us and for us, this is what their real problem is. And people always have this tendency of taking out their issues with our whole culture on whoever the face that they view as the leader or the pillar of our community. And Tariq is the guy who's playing this role now. 10 years from now, it'll be somebody else. 15 years from now, it'll be somebody after that. 15 years ago, it was somebody before. If you go back and you look at old interviews from Tupac Shakur, he's always saying, I can't represent every black male, because they would put that on. What do you think how the blacks feel? This is the type of shit that they be on, and they do this to Tariq. And they get very upset because Tariq does not pivot. Tariq stands firm, and he always really makes fools out of them. You know, they come swinging and they end up missing, and Tariq ends up flipping it back on them. So Tariq represents everything that we represent, and they understand that he's not one individual. He's one individual that's a reflection of millions of individuals, and this is where the hate comes on. So I always say, man, keep on hating. Keep on hating, bring it on, because the more they hate, the stronger we get. And they don't understand that type of stuff galvanizes us. We're not the type of people to get hated on and to go stick our head in the sand and go run and hide. That's for everybody else. You hate on one of us, you hate on all of us, and we don't really deal with that too lightly. So I salute Brother Tariq, and as well as Jason Black and anybody else who puts their head on the forefront of this community and represents it in a positive light. That's what I call a B1 salute, and Brother Tariq gets it. And big fuck you to anybody who's got a problem with him.
I said this one time. I said this earlier in this broadcast. Had it not been for Tariq's movie Hidden Colors, I probably would not be on the path I'm on right now. The Hidden Colors movie was like a big stepping stone, and I was always like somewhat conscious before, but the Hidden Colors movie was like a really big door opener for me as far as the system of white supremacy. I knew there was racism, but like how much of it and how in depth it was in our system and in our culture, I didn't know until Hidden Colors. So I will always give credit where credit is due. I will big salute to Tariq Nasheed for that. Now, moving on to our next question from Tim Samore. He says, question 2, what does the panel feel about many people from the off-code group sleeping white, but have been talking as if they are black? Many former or current audience.
I think he meant A-duns.
Yeah. So what do you guys feel about, and I guess this is kind of like a / interracial thing. What do you guys feel about our quote unquote black activist or whatever you call them talking black during the day, but sleeping white at night? What do you all feel about that?
I think they fraudulent. I'll take that one. Hey, I'll take that all day. I think they fraudulent, and this has been going on for years in the black community, and they try to hide it. If you guys notice, those type of people who practice that lifestyle, they try to hide it. Back in the old days, before the code was really as strong as it is now, when there was no discipline, they would walk around and try to point the finger at us. You know, you love who you love. Remember that? When's the last time you even heard that? You love who you love, because we done regulated that term, and now they took that term and they, putting it off to the side. But people like that, and I think it's A-dunks or whatever. I call them American Democrats of slavery, because all they are is a Democrat front group. It's the same game. These people are really just Democrats in disguise, the same way that you got these interracial swirlers in disguise. No one's ever going to come at our community straightforward. There's always going to be some camouflage, some sneaks. It's always going to be something that's going to be indirect. So people who claim to be leaders and people who claim to be down for the community, but they don't practice that in every aspect of their life, these people are just fraudulent. They like to wear blackness like it's a jacket. and they like to take it off whenever they want. And I notice with a lot of people, they'll be solid in so many areas, but once you get to the interracial access, then all of a sudden they just can't seem to shake that. So I see that as a telltale sign of someone who's living a fraudulent lifestyle, someone who's really not who they claim to be, and someone that we have to set our sights on. Because if you are selling the community out in your personal life, you're also going to do it publicly whenever it presents itself. So if someone's walking around here with a white wife, a white husband, or whatever else, but claiming to be B1, they're only doing that now. But if ever presented with the opportunity to do this on a bigger scale, they're going to follow suit all the way across the board. So I watch for people like that. I always got my eye on them. This is whatever the I'm the mama of the community, whatever her name is. Yvette
Carnell.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead. She was running around talking that BS, and I heard that she be, I'm gonna leave that alone. Brother. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I ain't gonna go there. Y'all know how I get. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah,
anyway, y'all know how I get down. I'm gonna leave that one alone. But anyway, truth to the fact, man, to the question, man, I think these people are faking the fraud. They're perpetrating the fraud. And there's somebody that we should always step aside from and never allow these people to do it. And notice those people are always the ones who want to be the leaders, that claim to be the leaders. It's never just somebody using that type of, behavior and standing in the background. They always want to be in the front. So those type of people who have that interracial access demeanor, those are also the same people who have the fraudulent leader demeanor. And we can't separate the two of them. And we see them, we spot them, and we got them. And every time they come across, we push them to the side.
Thank you.
Ooh-wee. And no, I can totally agree with Brother Alpha. Because, again, if you're not even looking at your own to say, yeah, I'm looking to build my future with this, then I'm just keeping it real from my perspective. Now, yes, it's true. Y'all may fall in love with whoever, blah, 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 yada, yada. My thing is this. If your attention never graces over our sisters as the potential future of your family and legacy first, that for me is troubling. Now, I can't speak from the women's side of it. Now, as far as Yvette goes, I know a lot of people in those LGBTQ relationships tend to date interracially. My mother is one. So I've watched this thing happen like my entire life. And a lot of their mentality will tend to change based on the relationship to their spouse. Like, I'll be keep it a buck, and this is from my own experience. My mother is with a white supremacist female who absolutely hates black men. I ain't talked to my own mother since 2017 because she won't let her. Now, here's the problem that we have with sisters like that. They have really hated themselves so long that they even hate their own children. So this is what I see when I see people, because I know the depths of that. Now, yeah, people could tell you that lie on the surface. You love who you love. You didn't love yourself. That's why you went over there in the first place. Somebody will probably argue with that, but hey, that's just what I've experienced. That's my take on it.
We can even take it a step further, like most recently with what happened with, I forget his first name. Last name Obumseli, the one down in
Christian.
Florida. Yeah, Christian Obumseli, down there in Florida, who was taken out by, that PC Heather, because she wasn't exactly in Karen stage yet, but she's on her way there. She's leaps and bounds at this point. But when she did what she did, and we saw and heard the stories and everything like that, and one thing people are always going to do is when situations like that arise, people are going to go on social media, specifically Twitter, and type in those keywords. They're going to put your name and the word black next to it, and they're going to see what comes up. In his case, they're going to type in black or black woman or anything like that, since he was a black man. And for a woman, it'll be probably black men. But for him, all they had to do was type that in, and a whole list of tweets came up where not only was this man speaking ill about black women, he was speaking ill about black people, specifically FBA. Because remember, this guy, I'm not sure exactly what nation he's from in Africa, but he's from the continent. And, when we saw that, people was like, oh, well, we wash our hands of this and everything like that. So then what ends up happening? His family comes out and basically says that, oh, we should, first off, we should not. Don't say what we should do. Because notice they always want us to be, to be the captain, save a hoe, or save whoever, save the world, but they don't want to pay us our reparations. Imagine that. Basically trying to render our services for free. We cut the check. Hashtag cut the check. That's what you can do. That's what should be done. But they want us to do all this extra stuff. And then when that happened, tweets started to pop up about his family. So now we see where his mindset came from. This wasn't something that was just developed with him. It developed from his family, because tweets started popping up, I think, from female family members of him, like his cousins, speaking the same type of jargon that he was. So now you really ain't gonna get our support, and nobody has really been supporting him ever since. Now his now former, whoever she is, the OnlyFans chick, is out there living her best life, going to bars and whatever, going and creating OnlyFans contents not even 5 minutes after she took her spouse out, and all types of stuff. But we cannot bring ourselves to feel bad when that kind of behavior is out there. Like, we cannot bring ourselves to throw on the cape, like I said, for all these people who will throw us under the bus. And then you have people trying to say, oh, these tweets was from when he was this age. Listen, the tweets that came from him at his youngest age, he was like 17, which means he's old enough to know what he's talking about. The most recent ones came when he was in his early 20s, because I believe he was 28 when he was killed. He was old enough to know what he was talking about. He even used that magical word Akata a couple of times, and we already know what that means. So yeah, you were like legit on your own. So this could be taken from, like I said, from different angles. We have, you're dealing with the people directly who date interracially. Then you had to deal with the people who die at the hands of the people that they're sleeping with while they're in the midst of, swirling or whatever you want to call it. And then their family wanting us to come to their aid. We can even take it, even outside of just the relationship part, most recently with Patrick Lyoya, the one that was killed in Michigan by those race soldiers. And what got me is that even though this was a tragic incident, because, we deal with this so often, his family, the statement that his family made, specifically his dad, saying that they fled from the Congo to escape violence over there, to come over to the States in 2014 for a quote unquote better life, because apparently they must have saw some kind of infomercial over in the Congo that America was this utopia of just niceness. They must have not got the memo. You may have been known as a Congolese over in the Congo, but when you come over to America, you're known as a nigga. And unfortunately, Patrick found out that day when he got that gunshot to the back of the head while he was face down in the ground. But what got me was when his family was speaking and saying so much to the effect of, we left over there to escape violence and come over here. What I heard from that is, we didn't expect to get treated like the American Negro. We are seen as the good Negro. That's what I heard when I heard him say that. I said, now you're really on your own. I said, it's sad what happened to your loved one, but you're going to have to understand that when you come over here, things are different over there. Not saying or disparaging what violence you were dealing with over there in the Congo, because there's violence all over the globe. But it's very different over here. And you're finding that out now, unfortunately, at the expense of the loss of your loved one, of your son. And for you to sit up there and say that basically means that you already had a preconceived notion of what Black people in America were already like, and you being from over there meant that you were the quote unquote clean Negro that was somehow escape white supremacy here in the States, and you found out otherwise. That's not the case. Now you know, now you have an idea. And I'm saying, you've been here since 2014. How many Black bodies have died at the hands of these race soldiers since 2014? I'm like, dude, are we just going to pretend that George Floyd did not happen 2 years ago? Like, come on, everybody saw that. And you were over here, so I know you saw it. and your son almost pretty much died almost in the same way. It's just that George Floyd had a knee to the neck and not a bullet to the back, like your son did. But that's my take on it.
Thank you very much. And Kid Gravity, what do you think about the question of black people talking black but sleeping white or non-black?
I've always said that talking black is trendy now because it gives you access to an audience that you might have maligned back in the day. But if you talk real soulful and you talk the right stuff, you could probably gain a following. And we saw that a lot within the last 2 years, especially with people like Taraji P. Henson. She was doing the pro-black thing. But then when the Emmett Till thing happened, she opened her mouth and stuck her $800 shoe into it and maligned herself away from us. But to sleep white but act black, that is quite problematic, because once you do that and you've committed yourself to being with that person, bless. Hope you have a productive life. But you're now in the middle of a community that does not want you, and in the middle of a community that you don't want. So you're a nomad at that point. You're basically like a inmate. You're only a number. You're a face. So depending on what you do in your life, we may or may not give you the shine that you expect, because you're basically telling us, I'm just going to be conveniently placing myself where it's advantageous to me. And we can't have that anymore. We gotta regulate people like that. And most coons, when they go home, they take off the mask and participate in their spouse's lives while they look like this.
Yeah, they do.
But that's my response.
Okay, I'm gonna be brief about my response. I said this before, and I said this before in a college meeting on a college panel, and I told people I was gonna say this, and he told me not to. I said it anyway. Black people who date outside their race, they secretly hate themselves. Okay, you as a black person, as a melanated person on this planet, if you have knowledge of self, that's going to change the way you see yourself, and that's going to change the way that you see all other black people. You will see a beauty in black people that you haven't seen before. And for you, and once you see that beauty, once that veil has been unlocked for you, nothing else will satisfy you. You're on a totally different level. So the fact that you could, quote unquote, fall in love with something that isn't of the beauty of blackness means that you still have that veil, which means subconsciously you still hate yourself. And that's just, and I will stand on that. The term love is love, I have never believed in that. I don't believe that you just fall in love. You've never heard of a story of somebody who fell in love with a homeless person on the street. It was like, you know what? I just walked by him every day for like the last couple months on the way to work, and I just fell in love. I just fell in love. Just saw him on the street, fell in love. That never happens. You don't just fall in love. You open yourself up to somebody to fall in love with that person. Now, I'm not in the thing. I don't tell people who they can and can't be in a relationship with, but I will say one thing: who you decide to, because it is a decision, who you decide to be in a relationship with is a reflection of yourself. You can't say I'm in a relationship with this person, but that's not a reflection of me. The decision that you make to be with somebody intimately, that is a reflection of you. That's a reflection of what you think and what you want in your life. So for you to be a black person and you're with a non-black person, especially a white person, you lose credibility to me. I like, you lose credibility. And I've thought about this for years. And at first I was like, no, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter as long as you're not a coon. But internally you are one. Even if you're not consciously one, internally you have to be, because you would have to be to even want that. for you to wake up and you see a non-black person next to you and you feel satisfied with your life, that subconsciously you can't be awakened. That's just not possible. That's my take on it. But I think everybody in here, and I understand. Oh yeah, you didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, because I'm looking at others thing. Go ahead, yeah.
Nah, honestly, I agree with everybody else saying. To be honest, y'all pretty much got the hit the nail on the head. But I did want to say, because I do understand the indoctrination of our people. I do understand the position and the programming that a lot of our people have gone through, you know. So I do understand that some brothers, some sisters, maybe they found out a little late about the system of white supremacy and certain things, certain aspects of consciousness. Maybe you was already dating white and things of that nature. You done already fell in love, you know, with a white man or a white woman. But I will say, after you've made that decision, you also have to make a conscious decision to understand that you can't be at the forefront of our issues anymore. You've kind of disqualified yourself from speaking for us, you know, and automatically, like you just said, it's going to be, I'm going to question you, just like, you know, Kamami, Kentanji, all of these women who have white partners, you know, white men, they're pushing that agenda, especially for black women in more particular, because your man is your cover, you know, so automatically you're going to go with what he says, you know, regardless. You can talk all this black stuff you want, but at the end of the day, he tell you, look, we got to go over here with these white people. You won't go over there with the white people, you know. And even for a black man with a white woman, she's covered by you, but she's covered by the system of white supremacy. So 9 times out of 10, she's going to go with that coverage of the system over you, you know. So yeah, it's just, I don't think it's smart for black people in general to try to uphold those who date out, because they just, that decision alone shows that they cannot have our best interest in mind, because they have to put their spouses first. So yeah, you know, it's not for me. I'm definitely against interracial. Let me just say that too.
Me too. Thank you very much for that. To wrap things up, I'm gonna let everybody go ahead and give their final statements as far as and where the audience can reach you, if the audience have not already subscribed to your channels and are following you on your social media. So closing statements for everybody here.
Oh, well, I guess I'll start first. First off, shout out to you, Afro, for putting this panel together. This was definitely very productive. I'm glad that you did it. Shout out to everybody who was a voice in the new black media. Shout out to this being dubbed New Black Media Appreciation Month. Is definitely well deserved. We are definitely doing everything that we possibly can out here. We're definitely just going to continue to grow from here. But y'all can follow me or find me on here. My channel name is Taurean Reign Reloaded. You can follow me on Twitter at Taurean Reign and on Instagram at Taurean_Reign. I post videos every single day, unless specified otherwise.
Before we go to the next speaker, let me get to the super chat from Tell It Like It Is. When you sleep white, you cannot think or talk black because your wires are crossed at that point. If you were, sorry, hold on, let me see. Let me look at the screen. If you try, there will always be conflict because you will always be cognitive dissonance in the mix. There will always be cognitive. Man, my tongue is twisted. Cognitive dissonance in the mix. I apologize for that, but I fully agree with that. You will always have this internal battle between the right and the wrong thing, because you know dating out is wrong. You know? And
sometimes I wish I could be a fly on the wall inside of the homes of the people who are dating interracially just to see what they like. But you know what? Thanks to social media, you don't even have to be a fly on the wall. Before you get to the next person, I just have to throw this in it since we were already talking about it. I don't know if y'all have seen this new trend on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Wow.
I saw it before it went to Instagram. Before it went to Instagram, I was like, wow. And nobody's gonna say anything about this.
I'm looking at it, and the thing is, I'm watching it on mute, and I'm just looking at it on mute, and I'm like, wow. I only had to look at one video on the sound and watch the rest of them on mute, and it's like, okay.
The things they will do for clout. But
I think but to be honest, I think that's clout just leaked from the bedroom. I honestly believe that that's what they like. And I've said this multiple
that slave
times.
play, almost definitely.
Yeah,
nah, you don't want to hear that
engage in
deliverance
slave
music.
play. They
I don't want to
engage
hear
in
that
it.
deliverance music.
But yeah, closing statements, family.
Closing statement. Now, for y'all, take it from a reformed coon. It took 10 years for me to get here, and I gotta keep going. But like I said, Afro, I appreciate you bringing me on, letting me interact with everybody on the panel. I have done shows with 3 of the people on the panel. Hopefully, I'm going to make it 5 very soon. I'm not going to bother Taurean next week because he's going to be in LA running around, so I ain't going to bother him. But Afro, definitely, we got to chop it up. Taurean, we got to chop it up. ZEZE, we got to chop it up again. But y'all can find me here on YouTube at KGBeyond. You can find me on Twitter at the KGBeyond, into Beyond and Beyond Borders podcast. And I do have 2 podcasts. One is about politics and social culture on on everywhere you play your ratchet music. You can find it there. Beyond Borders with Rose Gold and Kid Gravity, and Bet on Black with Kid Gravity, where I spotlight Black businesses from the arts, social media, Hollywood, and business. Also, where you can stream your ratchet music. And also, little girl, tell them what you got to do. What you got to do? Very good. Now go to bed. Get out of here. Go to bed. Got to start off young. She's half FBA. Got to start her off young.
Absolutely. The next person.
Hey, Afro, you got a bot. They showed up.
Oh, you got a bot in the chat.
Oh, they showed up.
Okay,
there you go.
Moss, take care of that, please.
Oh, they showed up.
Oh, okay.
And they in the wrong place.
Hold on. Okay, ignore that. Our mods got it. All
right. I can go next if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, first, Sister ZEZE, my wife, said you're pretty. So she gave you a shout out and compliment.
Thank you.
Oh, she's pretty. so, you know, my wife.
Smart.
Yeah, and smart. And she said, and smart. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, indeed. So shout out from another sister to another sister, and also shout out to Queen Alpha as well. You know, because there are a lot of us husbands in these spaces, married to Black women who have Black children. Man, and that's been my get down. It's always a pleasure, man. I love, like, if anybody, I always tell y'all about my timeline all the time. Full of babies, full of Black babies on my Instagram. I love seeing new life, love hearing new life. Shout out to Kid Gravity and his family and all of y'all on the panel. Thank you, Afro Elite, for hosting this. Taurean, ZEZE, man, it's been a pleasure. Black Alpha Network, always solid. So you can find me at right here on YouTube, BeatzillaPDX Official. You can follow me on Instagram, BeatzillaPDX, on Twitter at BeatzillaPDX. And if you are a melanated people, you can find me at Michael Beatzilla Whitmore. And I believe that, you know, we go live every Wednesday, every Friday, and then there's other uploads as well. So please like and subscribe. And shout out to the family, B1.
B1. Thank you, brother. Black Alpha.
Yes, indeed. All right, first off, brother Afro, salute to you for putting this thing together, man. It's been beautiful all the way across the board. Shout out Taurean, Kid Gravity, Beatzilla, ZEZE. Much respect to all of you. It's been an honor and a pleasure to share this panel with all these beautiful Black minds. I always tell people we got enough energy right here in this space and in the chat that we could change the whole community forever. The people who are out there in Washington, D.C., you know, fraudulently representing us, we can get rid of all of them and just replace them with 5 or 6 of us right here and actually affect change in the community. So I salute everybody one by one from Certified Black Society. You could always find me at Black Alpha Net W1 on Twitter, on Instagram, or right here on YouTube. We're just keeping this thing going. Put it this way, in October, I had 4,000 followers. In October, I had 4,000 followers on Twitter. I got 11,000 right now. So anything can happen. I cover more space in a few months than I did in, about a year and a half. I've only really been pushing heavy for about a year and a half. So it just shows you anything can happen when B1 energy is in the same place with certified minds and foundational Black American code. I always tell people this as well. Kid Gravity, I think he said it best. My podcast is about a 50-minute roast session. 50-minute roast session, just giving them that work. But the last about 5 minutes, I always dedicate it to the people, and I always slow my tone down because I can be, beyond direct, and I can be beyond uncut and beyond raw. Anybody who's familiar with it. So I try to reel myself in a little bit. I'm a Leo. I'm sorry. I'm a Leo. It is what it is. But I try to reel myself in and keep it, calm. So I'm gonna do that right now and salute everybody and just let everyone know that it's peace, love, and reparations. Reparations, love, and peace. Make sure they cut that check, like Kid Gravity's child said. Put it best, put it clear, and let them know everywhere we go and any space we step into, we control the yard. And if you're in our way, you better get out the way because B1's coming, FBA for life. And I salute that. And everybody have a great night.
Thank you, brother, for coming. And everybody go check out their channels. We got Sister ZEZE, closing statements, and then shout out to your social media.
Definitely shout out to you, brother Afro, for putting this together. Absolutely. I love to see, I just gotta say, as a Black woman, it is heartwarming. And I just love to see it kind of brings me a sense of pride, seeing Black men come together on code, on the same agenda and alignment with the progression of our people. So it's just good to see that y'all up here, regardless of all the backlash and haters and what people got to say about FBA and things of that nature. It's good to see that y'all are still standing 10 toes on what we need to do as a people to progress. So shout out to the FBA family and a non-FBA family that's on code. Shout out to the brothers on the panel. I do appreciate y'all. Love to hear y'all opinions up here. Y'all had some good perspectives. And y'all can follow me on YouTube, A to Z TV. Follow my Twitter, Shata_Youth. Follow me on Instagram, __CFWM. And B1, peace to the chat.
B1 sister. Shout out to, first off, audience, I need you guys to be following all of these people on all of their social media, okay? If you guys like this, please leave a thumbs up so I know that we need to have another Black Media mashup. Just let me know that by hitting the like button, okay? B1 to everybody. Thank you, Taurean, for being here. Kid Gravity, our sister ZEZE, Black Alpha, and Beatzilla. Thank you all for being here. This is going to be the first of many Black Media mashups. You can follow me, of course, by hitting the subscribe button and going to the description below where you find all of the links to all of our great panelists. Thank you all for coming here. Us Black First people with a Black First mentality, the FBA people in this country, in the world, have made so much progress within the last few years that we're shaking up the entire game. They're throwing everything at the wall to see if it sticks, and nothing is sticking. Ketanji Brown Jackson didn't phase anybody. Juneteenth didn't phase anybody. Kamala Harris didn't phase anybody. We're not phased by anything. We're saying cut the check every day, all the time. And they're scared of that. They're scared of that. They're terrified of that. There's a whole war going on in Europe right now, and we're sitting up there like, yeah, but we need that check cut. We don't really care about the Ukraine situation. I guess that's tough, not really considering they're Nazis, but we need that check cut. There was a whole pandemic going on, and we all like, yeah, we understand there's a pandemic, so-called, but we still need that check cut. There is not a single thing that's going to get us to pivot. There's not a single thing that's going to get us to change. We're not slowing down. We're going to stay on this every day, all day. Thank you very much to everybody who's came here in the chat room, everybody who's watching, everybody who liked, everybody who will leave a comment. And if you're watching on a playback, thank you too. And special thank you to all of our guests. Follow them on their social media. I made it easy for you by putting their links in the description below.
Hey, Afro,
thank you, everybody. And
hey, Afro.
Yeah.
Before you go, Sunday, y'all, Sunday, I'm not sure. It's probably gonna be like 8 o'clock, but I want to have a discussion with the ladies about something that Taurean put up today about those glitches and what they trying to do with y'all. I have a solution for you guys, but I need the females there. I think I can help y'all set up a way to combat this because this cannot go and get legs. So I want all the ladies on the Twitter space on Sunday.
Okay, yo, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Y'all check out what his Twitter space is by clicking the link in the description below. I appreciate everybody for being here. I I love you all. I really do. Black first to the family, black first to the FBA family, and the non-FBA family. And until then, we will see you all next week. You all be safe, family.